constant dollars.
Okay.
Because otherwise you can get caught up in this cycle that you don't know where you are. You can always make things look good. Even if you inflate sales price and cost at the same rate, you get a little creep every year to make yourself look better. If you just go a little bit higher on the sales price, it looks even better. So you never know where you are. So, especially, we just went through it. We're building townhomes in Broward. And we're going to be building single-family homes in West Palm Beach, in Westlake. So we tried a few of our, like when we went from here to Chapel Grove, and you'll see Chapel Grove next week, we simplified the designs, we made them wider, so they read like single-family attached. They're not rear-loaded, they're front-loaded, they're rear yards, etc. But I needed to bring the prices down. You know, if Flamingo and Sheridan is like, you know, A++++++, between 209th and 210th, Chapel Trail, so you know, is a nice master plan community, very family-oriented. Again, fortunately, all A-rated schools, but it's not 2 minutes to I-75. It's not. So you're further west, you got to be lower priced. And so where was I going to get most of the money out of the one-car garage? By going from a two-car garage to a one-car garage, I saved around $6,000 to $7,000. I can't take any other item out to get that type of thing. So when we did that conversion, well, we're building townhomes there, we kind of know. So we did that, we added a little bit for inflation, we made a few different adjustments, and we took out something, and we were able to get fairly close. It's always a problem. It's always a struggle. I don't do any business. You're never exactly right. So we tried, when we started down that path just a month ago, to go from this townhome to the single family, we got all messed up because there's a lot of different changes. You don't have the party walls, you got a different type of roof structure, but you don't have the sprinklers, I don't need the fire treated drywall. I said, guys, we're getting to let's just start from zero. And so they're literally, they stripped it down, you know, and they did a really good job of we had to do it from the base. And where current costs were, allowing for a little bit of inflation, et cetera, et cetera. We're at this stage, we're fairly used to a constrained labor force. It's been like that for, and during the boom it was like that because we're out building too much. And now it's like that because of the immigration policy. So, but it's been like that for 10 years. So, do we have the amount of people we need? No, but that's sort of like the world we're in. Yeah, if I had 2,000 units like Lennar, we'd have more people on the job. We don't. And so everybody's constrained a little bit. You have to learn how to operate within it, et cetera, et cetera. And it's been around 3-4%. It's moderated. You know, they'll play games with every year. What different suppliers try different things, concrete or drywall. It's just part of the situation.
I actually wanted to ask from the banker's perspective, whenever you're reviewing a pro forma, what do you guys like to see in terms of what's tied for an inflationary rate? Is it like the 10-year T-bill? What do you guys like to see in the pro forma?
We do untrend, so we take inflation out of all the pro forma.
What do you do second?
Yeah, because you know, if you do trend it, it's very, I mean, I laugh. It's very easy to show how smart you are with the 3% inflation rate because your expenses are going to go 2.5. So if you think about that, all of a sudden you got this big profit coming out, you get a discounted cash flow, it's just going to make you look really smart. That's not reality.
Right. Think of it this way. If you're 3% of, let's say, 300,000, is let's say 9,000.
Right.
3% of 150,000 cost. So you have this increasing gap that makes you feel wonderful, but who the hell knows what you're going to do? So you can't see, you get lost where you are.
So then you take it out because there's a compounding effect.
Yeah.
We strip it out. We just do untrended. So, you know, we're looking at a even with hotels. You know, so Samaria Hotel apartment, we're looking at today's rental rates, today's vacancy. And then we do look at the supply coming online and a reasonable absorption factor to see what the new vacancy rate would look like.
Thank you. Any in the
I
back?
had for the central wall.
Yeah.
Basically, did you sell out just at them looking at the floor plans during building, or was it after, when they saw the models? Like how
yeah.
fast did it sell? Because it's in Pembroke Pines, you know, it's an active city, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, no, we sold pretty much, according to the projection, we did around 6, 7 a month. You know, we sold X number of units pre-sale,
Whoa.
and then, whatever, it was 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then, once we opened the models, we sold the balance of the units on an orderly basis.
Okay, before you were finished building?
Oh, yeah, way before we finished.
Okay, so are you expecting, you think you're getting the same feedback for the one by Chapel Grove?
Chapel
Based
Grove.
on the location?
We got a little surprised at Chapel Grove. We opened there exactly a year ago. We opened there in February of 18. We opened from Central Falls because we didn't have any, we were just building the models at that time. And we had very, very strong pre-sales. And then we opened the models in August of last year. And we were sold out in the beginning of this year. So we sold 125 units in basically a year. We did between 9.5, 10, about 9.5 sales a month, which is in this market very, very fast. So we hit a really nice niche. We brought the prices down, like when we were planning it, I said it's going to be our closest competition. You know, we had one deal at Lennar and Raintree in East Pembroke, but you didn't have the good schools. And then really one of the closest was Lennar and Hialeah. So I said, we're going to have Hialeah prices, but a Pembroke address, and our quality and our design. And it worked out really, really well. We ended up, we were able to, fortunately, raise our prices. Our prices went up about 10,000 over a period of time in the year, from 349, let's say, basically 359. And the incentives went from normal, like we opened up to 10,000 a unit for options and closing costs, and then they gradually came down to 2,500, and then in the fall, when things slowed up, they went back to 10, and now, well, they're gone now, so we have some incentives on the models, which are the models with the top prices. Yeah.
You talked about a lot of building in Pembroke Pines.
Yeah.
Who are like kind of the landowners, like the project over on 27? Like who owned that piece of land in front of West?
Again, a
Bacchus?
relationship. Unbelievable. So, one of my partners was looking at the land. They knew the owners going back forever. I mean, these guys were the initial partners at Chapel Trail. The guy I dealt with was like 89, 90 years old or so. And I met him many, many years ago. But my partner, they were friendly with the owners. They were looking at it to do a rental with like joint venture with one of their partners. Then they decided they didn't want to do rental, it was too far west, so they said, all right, what do you think? Okay, so looks good to me. And so we ended up, so we bought it. Again, we had to go through zone industrial commercial, we had to go through the land use plan change, it was a 13-month process, and then we closed. Which it's important, don't close until you got all the approvals, right, Charlie?
Options contract in the meantime?
Pardon?
There was an options contract in the
No, not an option, there's just conditions to close. Like you'll have, a typical contract will be, you'll put a deposit down, and then you'll have somewhere between 60 and 90 days for due diligence. Then you have to put some more money up. That money typically becomes non-refundable, but you don't close, and you give yourself X period of time until you have all your approvals. I almost got caught here. So like in Central Falls, was I was anxious to start. We got all the approvals. And we were gonna close before the end of the appeal period, because for certain approvals, there's that 30-day appeal period. And I go down there, I'm there on a Friday afternoon down at the job. We were gonna close Monday. And I get this email from the people that own the shopping center next to us. It's the Fresh Market where LA Fit and all that stuff. Because they had to sign in the plat. And they say, well, you're changing all the uses of the plat, because they were part of that plat. And they started creating all these objections. I said, man, forget the coasting. So it took about, then I'm dealing with this corporate office in Cleveland. It took about 30, 45 days to get it cleared up. And I finally ended up calling the corporate counsel's office. I was just getting frustrated. I said, this is the deal. I mean, the only thing we're doing is giving you more customers. You want us to build an office building there, a shopping center, I'll compete with you? What are you talking about? So we're going to give you more customers, and it doesn't hurt you. And I had the letter within a few days. But until that, dealing with all these middle people, it was off. So, but I would have not looked too good if I had closed on that Monday and got that letter on a Tuesday and said to my partners, well, boys, we gotta wait to start, we have a little problem. It's not the way you want to start a deal, So, I know we all got antsy, we all like to jump it, but you don't have to be a hero doing all that. Another time, during the boom, that we bought a piece on the ocean in Lauderdale by the Sea. And Don McCluskey was our zoning attorney, was the dean of the zoning attorneys of Broward County. He went with us, we talked to all the commissioners, we talked to everybody. Everything was fine. We closed, violated our own rule, closed like right away on the property. We go to the first city meeting, right after we closed, they create a moratorium. Well, no one told us about a moratorium. And we spoke to everybody from the city attorney to the mayor to all the commissioners. Unfortunately, they let us process the plans during the moratorium, but it was, you get a sick feeling fast.
I was the construction, guys have been banking since '93. Hotel guys, they did the Samaria in downtown Salt Lake City, and they had it open before the Winter Olympics got there. So we closed the loan, and I had Comerica as a participant. Yeah, just like 120 days go by, I'm like, hey guys, where's the construction drawing? The Architectural Review Board doesn't like our windows. We don't have a permit yet. You know, what was that permit you sent me? Well, that was a temporary permit. That allowed us to do site work. So the Architectural Review Board in Salt Lake City wanted these windows that if you sat down at a desk in the hotel room, you looked up at blue sky. So to get their approval, he brought all 32 people in. And he took them up in a platform and he said, here is the window. He did a frame. He said he put a thing up. Here's the window you have requested, and this is what it looks like from inside through. And all 32 of them went, you can't see the mountains. They're like, that's what you've requested. And they go, well, what are you proposing? Oh, they pulled the thing down, he put his up. They go, that's what we want. It took, from that meeting, it took another 9 months to get their sign off. Comerica was so pissed off that they were in a loan that had zero fundings for a year that they literally called us and said, if we're not funding a nickel, we want out of this deal. So we had to pay their fee back and get them out. The guys are so strong, we still do it now. But that deal, I've now told everybody, this is when I was at B of A, I've told now, I've done $100 million loans with these guys that normally I'd go sell to other banks or syndicate. I've told people you cannot syndicate with these guys. They do not work well with syndicated deals. And so you don't, with them, they're that strong. You just, if it's $100, $150 million loan, you're not selling it, you're just going to make the loan to them. That's how strong they are.
Anyways, here, basically, you can see the project schedule. It took from the time we were introduced to the property, contract, it took about probably 15, 16 months prior to June 15th. And it pretty much went on schedule after that. Oh, here's the financing tips. So,
I didn't do this, so you can't blame me for this.
yeah, it's a pretty, my standard structure I explained to you.
So Harry's one of these guys, he goes to the bank, he says, this is the way you're gonna lend me money. And the banker goes, yes, sir.
Well, it works, everybody's protected. We developed this formula in the 80s with PD when I was at Minto, and it works very, very well. So, you know, I told you, the land was around 6.3, so we put in 10.5. So there's plenty of equity in the deal. There's, you know, we do the construction on a revolving line, and I'll show you that cash flow soon. And we press so many specs and the deposits, you know, and fee simple. If they don't put the deposits in escrow, you can use that for construction. And very few people do it. So if you have a lot of pre-sale there while you're selling, it's an excellent source of effectively additional equity. You know, and the development loan, we put in the first 50%, then the bank puts in the second 50%. And if you're building fast enough, you really don't need it if you have a lot of pre-sales, because you'll start throwing off cash. And then the last two things, we don't do it. And then on the development loan, that's the piece of the loan, as Mark will tell you, the banks like the least. So you pay that off at, you don't pay that off at par, you typically pay it off at like 115 or 125%, because they want to get rid of that faster. And they also want more guarantees on it typically also. And then, you know, we have a formula that we calculate the construction loan amount, and there's always the triggers that you can't exceed certain costs, et cetera, so you don't over borrow. What else did we say there? The way the capital typically comes out with the partnership interest, the way we do it, I think it's fairly typical, is we pay back the equity first, then we pay back the pref or the interest on the equity, and then there's the profit split.
You forgot, first you pay the banker back.
Well, the bank always comes.
Classic developer, always.
No, actually, what they now enable us to do, because we have so much equity in the deal, and we have profits that we created a formula with the bank is that.
Like I said, yes, sir.
We have a line, so we reduce the equity by the number of units closed. Then we have the retained earnings. Then we put in $1.5 million cushion. And if our availability is greater than that, we can borrow and pay back equity because the job is over-equitized. The bank is still in a stronger position.
Classic developer thinking.
And there you can see a typical pro forma. To be honest with you, I like to do things per unit because you can see it. And then you get, whether you're doing 12 or 1,200 or 2,000, then you roll it up. But on my typical cheat sheets or even when I do, and it doesn't matter whether I'm doing 89 units here or we're doing 2,000 units or 200 units. I always, you can focus, for me anyways, better on the numbers when I'm looking per unit. Because you can see, you can relate to a sales price and the premium, etc. If you're honest, you got a budget incentives because you're going to have them and they'll go up and go down.
Bankers do the same thing, look at our per unit, because they're looking at what the individual person's going to be potentially paying.
Yeah.
If you think about rental, here's the other stupid thing bankers do, because we do a lot of stupid things. So you think about rental. When you guys go rent, do you rent at $2.80 a foot, or do you rent at $2,000 a month? Right? Bankers talk dollars per foot, because Wall Street talks dollars per foot. But when you go rent, you rent on a chunk rate. So you're whatever your monthly rent is. So the bankers are constantly, if I'm talking to the other bankers, I'm talking dollars per foot. If I'm talking to you, I'm talking, what's the rent per month? You'll hear both, and it's all the same thing.
From a cost standpoint, you have your land, you have your closing costs, infrastructure development includes water, sewer, paving, drainage. We also include landscaping and recreation, some other things in there. Provisions 1 or 2, those are your basic, overheads and so forth, like construction. You gotta be careful when you talk construction costs, because we all talk differently. We include different things, and are you doing gross square, like GCs, like if you're doing commercial, they'll talk gross square footage, and the residential, the home, we talk net square footage, that including landscaping, or including permits, or including this, or including that. So it's, when you're talking to somebody or asking, be very clear about what you're including and excluding. We have our options, our interests, we gotta pay these guys. And then, other costs of sales. So it's not unusual. If you look at most home builders, it was like around this period of time, 2015, the gross margins were around 22, 23%. They've actually come down a little bit as the market softened. And the G&A typically runs between 10 and 12%. And then your net is between 8 and 12.
What's the premium?
Like views, like an end unit would be $10,000 more, a better view, or like, sort of if you have a lake premium or a buffer premium and so forth. And options,
Excuse me, were you required to build like parks, and just additions, for the residents and things like?
Green space.
we weren't, we were buying in an existing master plan community,
Okay.
so it had met its park requirements.
Okay.
What we did build was, we built a small fitness center. We built a pool, and because of, if you go back to the site plan, we had an area, there was the big 96-inch drainage pipe. So in Central Falls, we did build like a little park there, because there's nothing else you can do with it, like, let people go around there on their bikes, or they walk their dogs and so forth. And then these were the floor plans. So these were the two most popular, obviously, because of price. And then, oh yeah, this is another one, we knew it. We took the Flamingo, we created a 3rd-story option. So you have all this flex space, and then you can get it as a 4-bedroom, or a big flex space, workspace. And what we're finding is, we found a number of, this multi-generational is a very, very big part of the market. I mean, there's, families are combining together to afford and to purchase the homes. And it's not unusual to have parents living with kids, elderly parents living with the kids. That's why we did it at Chapel Grove, we put a bedroom downstairs. Not on this model, but on the other 3 stories, you'll see we put elevators in for the 3rd, optional elevators. We frame it so you can put the elevator in now or later. So if you have a parent, we have, when I get there, I'll show it to you. I think it's the next one.
What does that cost?
The elevator?
You versus the consumer, the end user?
The elevator itself, well, we built the shaft. Let me show it to you. It's right here. You see? See, it can be it's a big closet, or we build a shaft. So if you buy the elevator from us, in the mid-20s,
Okay.
or the way we build it, you can decide if you need it 5 or 10 years from now, you just take out the false floors, and it's all wired, you have all the electricity and everything there, you can put it in later. But it removes a big negative for like empty nesters and so forth of multi-levels where you can have the elevator. We sold it quite a few elevators, more than I thought.
Oh, your 2nd and 3rd floor is wood frame or concrete?
The exteriors are all concrete block, and the floors are joists, trucks, wood with gypcrete coding limits required. So what would happen here, and this is where it's easier just to show you. We started this when we were finishing the job with Mark and Volk, and people wanted more space, so we said, okay, we'll take the main, we'll create a third floor, and you can get it as one big open space, and it's 750 square feet. You can have an upstairs family room, one person that want to build it, wants to did a whole art studio with a kiln and everything else. There are multiple ways. Or you can get it as a 4th bedroom, and you still have a living room. So let's say you have an elderly parent, or you have a teenager, or you have a divorce with, there's 1,000 different combinations. You basically have a 1-bedroom apartment up there. And we also have an optional kitchenette. You know, it's like a microwave. So you can buy that, and they have the elevator so they can live comfortably, have the privacy, et cetera, et cetera. And then we had a divorce guy up when we were in West Palm. He said, but I need 5 bedrooms. So we basically turned it into, you can get it as 5 bedrooms also, and you still have a family room space right in the middle. So it gives it a lot of flexibility for different family arrangements. And then we created this unit as this is like a great empty nester home. So you have like a club room or a 4th bedroom. This is good, like if you want to have a mother-in-law or something downstairs elderly. They have a full bath, and they have the elevator up, and they also have like a little family area. Then the 2nd floor, we took the 2nd floor away from the garage living area. So that's like a great room that you have in a 3,500 square foot home. You see very, very few townhomes with a space like that. And we sold quite a few of them. Oh, this is just like a little time lapse of how it went. There's your 15, and it's good to see it built out. That's Central Falls, that's done, and we were starting Central Falls. I guess that's what I did the presentation.
Excuse me, from the commercial to residential.
Yeah.
I mean, just quickly, can you just explain the transition? Like from commercial to residential?
Explain the transition?
Yes, like for like governmental and all that.
Yeah, it
You had
took
to go
13 months.
Right.
13 to
Okay.
14 months. You have to go through the city,
Okay.
get their approvals for the land use change, then you transmit it to the state. And while you're doing that, then you have to go for the rezoning at the local level, and then the site plan at the local level. And then at the time it comes back from the state, you should have your rezoning and site plan, and the state approves it, and then the city does the land use change.
What was the previous zone there?
Pardon?
It was commercial right behind the
Commercial.
plaza?
Yes, it's all commercial office.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the residential properties we're doing now were another use. We talked about golf courses earlier, or commercial, and, yes.
Do you notice that in multifamily and residential that they're using any type of tilt-up concrete construction now?
Not so
For
much.
cost? Not so much, just still industrial.
Not for Florida because of the concrete, we got issues. We are seeing in the multifamily and the 3, 4, 5, 6, and the mid-rise is the forms, the slip forms.
Pre-forms.
That they can pour, they can build it very fast.
What kind of piling?
Oh, we don't need pilings.
You don't need pilings?
No, we're just gonna slab on brick, small buildings. You get it, it's all rock up there anyway.
Oh, okay.
Cover, I can palm that rock forever.
Limestone?
Yeah. Can we get to the next, we got what, 10 minutes? Or 8
Yeah.
minutes? I'll show you a quick cash flow model, all right? I'm sorry I don't have more time. You didn't talk so much, Mark.
You're doing a great job.
Big talk, though.
You want to do the Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah, please.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, that's the advantage of not being in the bakery.
Any questions so far in between?
Who's coming this afternoon?
Woody and Woody.
Who?
Woody.
Who's Woody?
He's the director of operations for the House of the County.
Oh, okay. Habitat for Humanity?
Hmm?
Oh, that's a great organization. We built a house for them at, where we are with.
Want me to zoom this in a little bit more so I see it?
No, you tell me, I don't.
You want me to run it for you and you just want to talk it through?
That will be better.
Oh, well,
All
tell me
right,
where
where are
I'm
we? Which tab are you? Oh, you're on the summary?
Yep.
Yeah, here. All right, so. I did not create the model. Well, let's be very clear about this. The model, the history of the model, when I was at Minto, my senior guys in Ottawa and the guys in Florida, the finance guys created the model. Well, when I did the deal with Mark, with Terry, for Blue Lake, my CFO had also left Minto. So he took the model and revised it for Centra. And when I did Villas, Rudy got a job in the Bahamas, so one of my partners was a finance guy, investment banker. He did the model, and now my accounting firm, one of their guys took me over. Now I got it. Anyway, so it's the same basic model that's for the last X number of years. I sent it to Samaria, a friend of mine, the guy from Samaria. Look in the corner, you'll see my initials. I said, I don't even know where to look for your initials. So for my, it's not a lot of complexity to it. It just, you can see, like you saw in the basic income statement, the basic assumptions. Scroll down, Thomas. Keep going. Yeah, and then, okay, here, a little bit more so they can see, because this is what they were asking about. Yep. So I think a lot of you were asking, like, with the preferred return and so forth. So in this case, remember, this was done as still when the preferred for home builders was around 12, so there was a 50-50 split. So I put in Label put in $1,050,000, the partners put in $945,000. The general partner typically puts in around 10%. That's the base. Is that what you typically see? Yeah, it's a good starting point. People, your partners are going to want to see what they call skin in the game. No skin, no ticky, no washing, unless it's a fee thing like Mark talked about earlier. So the preferred return, which is interest on the invested capital, eats up a good chunk of the profits. That's why you got to go fast. So in this case, it was $2,000,001, and they got their share of the cash flow was another $1,000,001. So their total internal rate of return was 16, which is pretty normal. It's around 14 to 16%, 15, 16%. And it worked out pretty much like that. Then if you scroll down, the managing partner or label company, so we put in $1,050,000. We also get 12% on our capital. Everybody gets the same. Our share of the profits were 1.1. So our total return. So our IRR with it is 48, because we get, once you pay back all the capital, you get what they call the promote. So then you go up to the 50%. So you share after the prep in the 50%, and that gives you a bigger return. And that's a fairly typical structure, and it's going to vary. Every guy got his own nuances. And how you calculate the prep, is it annually, is it quarterly, is it monthly, how does it compound?
But is this what you submit to
your partners and to the bank.
okay.
And then if you're running out of time, let's just quickly scroll. Yeah, scroll to the top, right? Scroll to the top, and then just so they get a sense of the level of detail about. Just let's quickly go to the bottom. Tom, let's go reconciliation. So this is just like an accounting thing, but it's making sure it all adds up. And scroll down a little bit. Okay, then go financing assumptions, because we're running out of time. It's basically the assumptions that we spoke to you about earlier. And then get into some of the spreadsheets so I can get into. Go to funding analysis.
That's what I look at.
Yeah, that's what he looks at. He can talk about that more than I.
All that other stuff after I paid back, which is before he starts distributing preps, just so you know. That's what I'm looking at, because that's going to tell me what he's thinking on his sales and how he's going to be paying back the development, not only the construction loan just pays back as the individual units are sold.
Here, scroll down so they get a sense of the difference. Slow. So if you look on,
Slow from the
and Mark can talk about this better than I can, believe me.
Yeah, so you see where he's got loan funding used, and then he's got construction loan draw, development loan draw. I'm looking at those assumptions going all the way out and building that into my underwriting analysis. And that's where I usually have questions. I'm like asking him on pace of sales, the pro forma prices that he's got, his interest rate assumptions. So looking at his financing assumptions and that funding analysis, that's where the banker's gonna have most of the questions. Yeah, your appraiser's he's gonna give this to the appraiser, and the appraiser's gonna say, yeah, it's reasonable. The development loan is the key, because that's your land loan.
But we don't borrow no way.
You don't, but some people do.
Right.
You know, it's the good thing with a lot of the homeowners, you know, we talk about Lenard, they know, don't get any debt on the land.
So being that, I understand that this is, you know, a model proprietary review, so that we can be, you know, professional. I've been through the finance 1 and 2 course.
All right.
We didn't build out a model in as complex as this. Is there, like, say you're in our shoes and you're wanting to do, you know, a first deal or
You
whatever?
don't need something.
Okay,
You can-
that's what I
you
was
don't
asking.
need it. You can go through your basic assumptions and a simple cash flow with, this is probably, like I got a new guy doing it now, an analyst one, and we got to simplify this a little bit, you know. So, yeah.
Well, to my earlier comment where he goes to the banker and says, here's the terms, the banker goes, yes, sir, that's because he's providing this kind of information.
That level of detail.
Yeah.
So, but they can also,
Where I was going is, most of the stuff I get is on one sheet.
which is not.
Not surprised.
So then I'm sitting down with them, asking questions.
So we know how to build something with some detail, level of detail.
As long as you've got your assumptions there.
Go to the next, yeah, correct. Go to the next page. Yes,
Yeah, if it's one page, you got your assumptions.
so listen, you guys can do sales starts and closings, you know,
Yes.
in my, it's not a tough one. I couldn't, you could. Then, you know, go to the next step. You know, then you got your sales revenue, you know, as those, as it all comes through, you know, and then, you know, you're gonna have to, you know, you can build, you'll be surprised, this is not an overly complicated law. Oh, that's me, but it's, as you get more into it, and you're gonna have, remember, you're also, as your jobs get bigger, you're also gonna have analysts that,
Right.
you're gonna go from you're in a simple job, you're like a one-man band or something, but then as you grow, you're not gonna be, you can't do a jack of all trades, you know, so you have the analysts, and you gotta know how to look for certain key things. I mean, I add up all these numbers. I know that, I look at one page, I gotta make sure those numbers are right. You can hit the next one, just so they see this. No, but you gotta do a budget, like, see, when you're gonna do your budget for the job, whether it's commercial, residential, you're gonna budget all these items anyways. So it's not like you don't need the information to even get your profit and loss statement. It's just, it's really spreading your profit and loss statement over the life of the job.
And then the appraiser is essentially certifying whether or not those rents or those sales are going to be
Yeah.
somewhat within.
So the appraiser, and for those that are in here, I've got a love-hate relationship with the appraiser.
Everybody
too.
does.
Don't worry about it. But the appraisal under FIREA, the appraisal is just the appraiser's opinion of what he thinks the value is. And it has to be reasonably supported. So it doesn't have to be my opinion. It doesn't have to be Harry's opinion. It's his opinion. I'm actually dealing one right now. I know the appraiser, he's a great appraiser, but he's in this dilemma. The cap rates are really low, and he looked at it and goes, here's where the value is. So he got in this quandary of, this is where the value needs to be, but I got these cap rates. So when cap rates are this low, then you got Washington, or Wall Street just flooding the market for Class A properties. You end up with a low NOI to get to that value, because you got these stupidly low cap rates. When you think about it, you're gonna spend 50, 60, 70 million dollars at a sub-4 or sub-5 cap rate. Guys, you can go buy a GE bond and get 5%, you know, take a lot of risk out. You know, GE's got a lot of risk in it right now. But my argument was it should be a higher cap rate. And the way we underwrite, we use a lot of the assumption the appraiser has in his income. So it's creating a dilemma where I'm having to really struggle to get to where the developer wants me to be with the loan amount. And there are other bankers out there that don't rely on the appraisal as much as we do.
Gotcha.
And so they're going in there and just giving him what he wants without really paying attention to how your file looks for regular.
Right.
So,
Okay, thank you.
Because you guys only got an hour now.
Half hour.
30 minutes. Well, any more
Let's conclude the
questions?
morning session.
What?
Let's conclude the morning session with a very warm thank you. Thank you, guys. And we will start at 12:35 sharp.